Hello my friends, I'm Delta, and today my hyperfixation has given me an idea. For a standard Warhammer tabletop model, how many brushes do you need to make it look good? When I say make it look good, I don't mean make it look like Golden Demon standard, because so many hours go into a single part of a single model, it kind of gets confusing. So you're just going to do tabletop ready, it looks decent enough at a glance, you're not really going to focus on any major, detail discrepancies, like a Blood Angel having a green helmet for some reason. That would be funny to see. You might be thinking, how many brushes do you truly need? Some people might say 15 or 20. And if you have cheap crap brushes, then yes, because you'll go through a lot. In the years I've been doing it, I would say you need 6. And these 6 will pretty much take you from your very first to, 100, if not 1,000 models later. Now, the first one we're going to start out with is the Base XL brush. Now, I'm using the Games Workshop Citadel brushes because these are the ones I've got the most of. These are the ones I've been using my entire life. Not entire life. These are the ones I've been using the entire time I've been doing this hobby. And the Base XL is the biggest one, not including this one, but let's be honest, if you're going to try and paint a small little, a tiny little 20mm scale Space Marine using this, like I can cover an entire model with this by itself. Sure, it can be useful, but let's be honest, when the hell are you ever going to use that to paint something that's not a wall? The Base XL brush is going to be the most useful one, because at the beginning of any model, they're always going to be whatever color you prime them. So, be it black, be it gold, be it red, whatever. If you want to do, a full color on top of it, like Thousand Suns doing blue on top of that, one big, Base XL brush, you can cover the entire thing in less than a few seconds. And by the time you've done all your... I dropped it. By the time you've done all the other parts, that part will already be dried, so you can go back and give it another coat. Now the next one is the large base brush. And in all honesty, let me pick that up. Large versus XL. Like, it's an obvious difference. This is like 4 times as big as this. That being said, this is really useful for parts you don't want to completely overrun. So, let's say for example you're doing the sword, and you've already done, the large base, you've already done the entire arm, you just want to paint a certain part of the sword. So you can just go as close as you can with it without going completely onto the blue and then ruining that base cover. For some smaller parts, this will be the most useful, and if you use this one, it can 100% stain your fingers. Trust me, I know, I've done this a lot. I've had to wash off so much paint off my fingers for years. Now the next one is a medium shade brush. Arguably, you can use any brush you want, as long as it's got somewhat flexible bristles. 2 of the other ones I've got, I use them for shade depending on how big the parts are. But for a decently sized standard model, this is going to be the one that gives you the most coverage for any shade paint. Be it Agrok Surf Shade, be it Nuln Oil, Reikland Flesh Shade, even any contrast paints. This is going to be your best bet for any liquidy paint, any runny paint, any washes. Stop saying washes, they get the point. It doesn't mean it's going to be useful in every situation, but for a majority of it, especially with Death Guard, you're going to need one of these. Next we have the small dry brush. One thing I do say is, I think you might need to get some odorless paint thinner, wherever it is Bob Ross uses when he's painting, purely just to get any excess paint that's still remaining in the bristles out. After a while, paint will build up, and the best way to do it is probably use a little bit of paint thinner just to try and get out any of the excess paint. Dry brushes are really useful, but as useful as they are, sometimes you can just use a large base brush, and sometimes it's better to use a large base brush if you're going to do a larger thing like a rhino. Small dry brushes are better for small parts. Let me go to the small medium layer brush. This one is probably the one I use almost as much as the one I use the most. This is really good for getting small and tight details down, but you're still able to cover a decent amount of space. So if you're trying to paint a thin line, you won't really be able to do that as effectively. But if you're doing a thick line, this will be the best one. The one I use for layering the most, and hence the name layer brush. Now we come to the most expensive brush at £12. Yes, I'm not stuttering, I'm not saying anything wrong. It's 12 quid. It is a lot. But arguably, this is the one I've used the most. I have done pretty much every single model I can remember using this. The Artificer Layer Brush. And to prove it, where's my one? This is a new one. This is the one I've been using for the last 3 years. The bristles are completely fucked. And if you can't really see it, I'm gonna take that off. You can clearly see just how much has been removed from the bristles. The one I've been using the most. As good as these brushes are, you need to take care of them, otherwise you can't really use them for long. You don't need to use the brushes I say verbatim, but these are just simple guidelines to help you try and start getting better at actually painting the models. And remember that no matter what happens, your model will be good because you did it.